This is why I think I really enjoy Terrance Howard's take on a lot of these things is it's more than him being like, this is right or this wrong is so much is like, why not just think differently?
With the echo, telling you.
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you.
The echo, telling you.
I would like to continue our Terrance Howard deep dive.
Well, Terrance Howard, in my opinion, had recently like one of the most interesting, I think, to date
Joe Rogan
interviews
with Joe Rogan.
I've seen a number of his interview / kind of speeches where where Terrance kind of waxes poetic.
Really talked about how, we have a linear thinking and it really is universally it's circular.
I think it is important to preface the whole Terrance Howard conversation with the fact that he was born with a
synesthesia.
Synesthesia, which synesthesia.
It is synesthesia, tomato. Yeah.
Don't ask me how to pronounce it.
Well, we're not.
The whole thing off.
That's it. We're done. Let's just clock out. We're out of here.
Conversation's over.
And for those that don't know, synesthesia is like when basically all your senses, if you could imagine them broken down into like a pie chart with all these direct lines, delineating the difference between sight.
Yeah, you're talking to the people right now, not me.
I know.
Your camera's over here.
If those lines were just blurred, that's synesthesia. Like you experience one thing, but you experience with all your senses somehow.
See, I wouldn't say it's blurred. I would say it's more intense.
They're overlapping.
It's completely crossed over.
See, yeah, I like that overlapping.
Overlapped. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, so
the one singular visual input will create multiple sensory.
Well, so, and I wouldn't even say like singular input. I mean, so singular meaning like literal incident or component. So, because, whether it's you're looking at colors or smells or, numbers or anything that you're ingesting input wise. So singular input. So, whatever your perspective is, yeah, you get a multitude of senses that come with it. And I was saying to you earlier was like, if you look at the number 2 on a piece of paper, we see a number 2 on a piece of paper. Someone with synesthesia is going to see that number 2, but it's also going to be coupled with a possible smell or a color or a tonal sound or.
Well, it could be that what you're experiencing is, like we were saying, a certain frequency, but then maybe you're seeing another octave above that.
I wouldn't say an octave
where
above
there's
that.
a different layer of reality, but you're experiencing it all at the same time.
Well, see, and this is why I like
a sound can almost have a taste to it.
Well, and that's why I like the way that Terrence put it in that reference of, our eyes were, with all the stuff that's going on around us, we're still only perceiving this minuscule amount of information.
0.001 or
Hold
2
on,
or
pause
whatever.
1 second on the taste and the
smell.
Well, purple sounds awesome.
No, frequency and taste. Okay. So I was watching Skinwalker Ranch. And
Fuck yeah, Skinwalker Ranch. Sorry. Go ahead.
So
okay?
There was EMF, not EMF, magma, whatever. There was rays of energy coming out.
EMF, electromagnetic field.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was EMF. Okay. So there's EMF detected on like a non-moving drill. And when the drill was going, it increased much more. And there was as much EMF that people started tasting things in their mouth.
Yeah, metal. They were tasting metal in their mouth. They had a metallic taste in their mouth.
So that's what that just made me think of, like the frequency or the EMF or whatever being put out there. It can actually, you can actually taste it as a side effect depending on what
absolutely.
it is. But it's your body's reaction to like an
Well, but so
An
this is
overload of
maybe-
a toxin.
well, this is where I've always said is, so our bodies as a sensory unit, like literally our puppet suits have all of these senses.
Meat suit.
Meat
Puppet
suit.
meat. It's a meat puppet suit. I don't know.
Puppets, bro.
So, anyways, but yeah, our bodies are literally just a giant sensor. Our skin senses, our olfactories, our taste buds, our eyes, our ears, like all of these things are just sensory inputs.
Nose and mouth.
Our RAC or reticulum activation center decides how much of that information and what specifically of that information gets registered. So our bodies are perceiving all these things. Our brain or our RAC in the brain is deciding what we get to literally see or hear or smell or taste.
Well, I think it's a lesser, well, not, I don't want to say lesser function, but of the hippocampus. Basically, that when you receive sensory information, it's constantly comparing it to things that have happened in the past. Like within the blink of an eye, it's going through your entire.
Yeah, and that's not the hippocampus.
It's
That's
trying to
literally
detect
the
patterns.
RAC. That's the reticulum activation center. So more or less, the RAC is more or less the front line.
The EAC. You're here. Oh, sorry.
So as all of this sensory input comes in, your reticulum activation center, which you can program, because we've talked about this as well, you program it. Well, in doing so, it then decides what parts of that information you want to know. It's not what it thinks you want to know. It's what you have told it you want to know.
That's the default position.
Well, because we were talking about this earlier is, when you're, the first 7 years when you're in alpha wave, you're literally programming your brain. You're programming your CPU. You're programming what it is you want to perceive. So it doesn't matter how much crap is out there because your body's going to take it all in. Your RAC is like, oh, he or she or that, whoever, they only want this. Here you go. That's why I've brought it back to the point before where it's like, as you have all these things that are available around you, you choose, well, your RAC then chooses because you've programmed it, what you get to see. When you change that perception, when you can reprogram your RAC, all of those things have always been there. Your RAC just told you this is what you wanted to see because this is what you told me you wanted to see. So it negates all that other stuff. So there's always been this positivity. There's always been negativity. There's always been these options or choices or whatever else. Your RAC on how you program it dictates to you what you actually perceive. So, and that kind of brings up.
So what is the truth?
Well, this is what I think this brings up a good point. With
You can handle the
They're
truth.
like,
no, hold on. So this is where I think this is with synesthesia. What if with somebody who has synesthesia, your RAC is basically negated? You no longer have that frontline defense where it decides what you do and don't get to witness.
Your circuits are fully open.
That's what I'm saying. So what if your RAC
Like
is
there's
just not
no-
even triggered or turned on or,
Like to me, that's
existing?
what that would mean is that there's no filter other than what you put on it, which was another thing I was saying. Like for a social aspect of that, you'd kind of have to learn to ignore certain parts of the information that you're receiving.
But your RAC
Or
does
at
that
least
for you, but you can program it to
understand
do
not
that.
Everybody's that way.
Well, that's what I was saying. I mean, it literally just came to me. It's like, well, so what if someone with synesthesia, they don't have that filter? What if they don't have that one little piece in the line of input that negates
After the age of 7? Because I think to some extent, and this is what I think I've alluded to before in previous conversations, is that when I was a little kid, like, I don't remember being born like he claims to, or even the experience of being alive before being born.
Yeah, no, he had experience. He had memories of being in the womb.
Yeah,
right.
At like 6 months or something like that.
Relative, yeah.
So he said. Like I don't have that, but I feel like I experienced life a little differently in that period of time before I turned 7.
Yeah, because
7, 8,
you've
somewhere around
brought
there.
this up before when you were like 3-ish years old that you would have these visions.
I mean, I would meditate at a young age, and nobody ever taught me or told me how to do that.
Well, and you didn't know you were doing that.
And I was actually
retrospect.
really, at the time, I was really good at it. Like I could slow time down from my perspective. But that's all it ever is. You know what I'm saying?
Time is irrelevant.
Everything that you experience is from your perspective.
Well, yeah, because I mean, think about that.
Is that real or is it not real? Who knows? But at the time and after that, by the time you're in like, you know, way in elementary, middle, high school, like
second grade, sixth grade,
you forget about all that shit.
Well, you don't you don't forget it.
You used to be the hero
still
of your
stored
own,
in your brain.
I mean, do you remember when you were a kid being the hero of your own dreams?
I'm still the hero of my dreams. I'll be honest.
Yes, but at the same time, it was much more vivid when I was a kid.
But you're speaking on your perception.
And this is my perception. But maybe that's like we were saying though, that maybe that's the difference, and that's what I was speculating, is that somebody that has a condition or is born with a condition like synesthesia, they experience life in such a different and maybe not different way, like more unique to what everyone else experiences.
I like that.
But it's the same experience, but layered. It's not like it's different. It's just there's more of it.
Well, and that's why I said maybe your RAC is not on or functioning. So, because I mean, your body is going to perceive all of this data regardless, but there's that one piece that filters out like 99% of everything. Because it's like, no. You just want to see this.
Yeah, what do we say? The human eye picks up, out of the grand scheme of things, the human eye only picks up like 0.002%. Well, all the visual stimuli that you could get, but it's only within a certain range that we can perceive.
Oh, I mean,
the perception part is very small when it comes to actual visual perception for the average person.
See, well, I feel as though,
and then I think synesthesia, because it's crossing those boundaries, it allows you to see things that you normally don't experience with the visual.
Well, but see, and that's what I'm saying is I feel as though
like that you would see shapes and colors coming off a bell when you ring it.
From my education in psychology, abnormal behavioral developmental, our brains and our senses can take in all of this information. It's literally the RAC that is dictating to us, you only want to see this, because that's what you've programmed into it. So
what's most useful?
Because I mean, our eyes, as far as we're aware,
so your RAC is creating your algorithm.
Basically, yeah. That's a really good way to put it. It really is, because I mean, our eyes register at a rate of 60 cycles a second.
Oh, you're just talking, yeah.
We're literally able to ingest 60 things every second. But yet,
which is actually the reason why when you see tires moving on screen, they look like they're rolling backwards.
They can. Well, so, and that's, in reference to that, your typical fluorescent.
Just a movie trick?
No. Your typical fluorescent lights cycle at 60 or higher.
But it's so close to that. Right.
However, when you get a bulb or a ballast that has caused that cycling to be below it, now all of a sudden it has like a running light through it.
You can see the fluctuation.
You can see it like you can see it pulsing because it does
the point
pulse.
Is, there's always a fluctuation, but you can't see it until there's something wrong.
Well, you can't see it until it's modified from what your literal sensors are allowed to perceive. So, I mean, we do have physical aspects within our sensory perception that allows us to perceive or not perceive. But the RAC in and of itself dictates with that information what you do or don't want. It decides for you as you have programmed it. That's why, as it triggered in me, it's just like, well, shit, what if somebody was synesthesia? What if that thing just doesn't even turn on? Because, this goes back to, what's his name? Dr. Dispenza, where he was talking about how there's all these different, components within our DNA that we can turn on and off. Well, what if you're literally born with that turned off? And you're just getting full sensory input. And you literally get to decide what you do with it.
That naturally would turn for biologically changing environments, pressure conditions, whatever you want to call it.
it'd give you optimal safety function.
That would either turn on or turn off, but everything is mind. So in focusing in a certain way that you could actually turn those on and off yourself.
That's why, you know,
what Dr. Dispenza was
as you brought him in and talked about him, it's like, you know what, that's a really good point. Because you could.
Well, I mean, I always think
turn
about
them
that.
on and off, man.
I always think about that Tesla quote. I always come back to that. That if you want to understand the ways of the universe or something like that,
if you want to
understand nature.
Well, no, if you want to have a better understanding of any and all things, you need to think within frequency, vibration, and energy.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that what those are the three?
But
you might want to double check us on this.
There was a focus on frequency and vibration.
Yeah, frequency, vibration, and energy, if I'm not mistaken.
Which is I find really interesting because there's a lot of things about what Terrance Howard was saying that I absolutely agree with. And the tie-in for me, obviously, I was already at the time when I noticed Terrance Howard, other than being an actor, what made him really intriguing for me was that he was into Walter Russell.
Because you had brought up the reference of he had like behind the scenes and he was carrying the one Walter Russell book.
He was doing a regular series, like a show during the filming of that show when I think he got it as a gift from the whatever society that Walter Russell had set up before his passing. Yeah. He's got a whole university of study.
Yeah. JD, do you mind looking this up? Well,
basically
the Tesla thing, the frequency, vibration, and whatever
him a copy of this book, and
thank you.
He basically carried it on set with him, and nobody could tell him to put it down. He wouldn't even listen. But
because I think he even referenced.
Still stayed in character. He did his lines just like he was supposed to. He did an immaculate job.
He was doing, I think, Empire, right?
Empire, right?
Yeah, because one of the things where somebody had mentioned to him was just like, "Hey, what's with the book?" And he's like, "You don't worry about the book." It's just like, whoa, what?
He just basically,
he basically just told you straight up. He's just like, yeah, these are not the droids you're looking. He's like, don't even worry about this book. This is not for you.
And he did. I mean, in my opinion, he's a great actor. I have no qualms with him as an actor.
Dude, freaking gets in a hustle and flow, man.
That was good shit.
Dude, no, not was, is.
For a pimp.
You do, yeah, right. Yeah, and that was also Tanya Harding, I think, was in that too. And then
he goes way
what's
back.
Her name? Tanisha? Not Tanisha. Harrison or whatever, right?
Yeah, because he goes back to what, Boys in the Hood?
Yeah, I'll tell you what team. No, hold on. I'll tell you her name in 1 second. But the quote you asked for, it says, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration."
Yeah, I was correct with the idea of energy.
We just said it
coupled with 3, 6, and 9.
3, 6, and 9 was another quote of his, but yes.
Well, I think it was a all-encompassing. So it's not just frequency, energy, and vibration, but it's also within the relevance of an understanding, as Terrence would put it, the universal math of understanding 3, 6, and 9 and what that does. Because I mean, if you go, like we've talked about with the, flower of life, the mean or whatever, the
golden ratio.
Thank you, the golden ratio. All of those are in relation to 3, 6, or 9. Those are
real quick, so I can get out of this.
Yeah,
Taraji P. Henderson.
Thank you, Henderson. Yeah, that was the one.
Taraji.
Yeah, she's dope too.
Yeah,
she is. Well, yeah, wasn't she also in Empire? I think she was in Empire as well, wasn't she?
Yeah,
I believe so.
Yeah,
she's
but it goes back to the image was it's not the flower, it's the lotus or it's the flower of life.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that was the one thing that he brought up is when they unpacked or deconstructed the flower of life. He's like, they misinterpreted. They saw it as, and they only put it, but because they were thinking on a linear mathematical level, as opposed to a universal mathematical level.
His point that he really drove home, that one, was that we thought the Earth was flat.
Well, at one point, correct.
Don't forget that. We thought that we were the center of the universe.
Hold on. Can we discuss this? Because I sent a video about this morning.
The flat Earth stuff just disturbs me.
But dude, there's a perception
so what's your
in that,
ideas
though.
on a flat Earth and the firmament? So there's a lot of talk about the firmament being the heavens and the skies and the water above and below, and as above is so below. And that lines up with like Freemasons and stuff that they speak about. And even in the Bible, it talks about the firmament. So there was this video that I came across, and the video I came across, I sent you guys this morning, but it was this guy was looking at flight patterns, and it was a flight from like here to here. And on the map, the plane was flying like this. And the guy's like, I don't understand why he's up over here. There's no need he should be up in that country. This doesn't make sense. So then he takes a globe and he like puts a rope around the globe and like, and then measures it. He's like, it's a straight line from this place to this place. So why is the plane up here again? And then he takes a map drawn of a globe that's on a piece of paper and again measures it, straight line from A to B. Why are they still flying up there? And then he takes a flat map and puts a ruler against it, and the spot that it was up here before it was coming down to its destination on a flat map is a complete straight line lining all three things together.
Just some flat earth.
So it would be on a flat earth map, it would be the most direct flight path. But in a global map,
is it Iceland or something it was going over?
Yes. Yeah. Like they had to go up by Iceland.
It's like, how is this over Iceland? It shouldn't be over Iceland.
Yeah. And it was like completely out of line with the other two. And every single way he measured it, lined it up, everything except until he did it on a flat.
With all their arguments is there's very little science to back up anything that they're saying.
I mean, that's not what she's saying. I'm not an advocate for, however, this is why I think I really enjoy Terrance Howard's take on a lot of these things is he's not saying that it is right or is wrong. He really is just saying, hey, hold on. This is what we've been taught. But if you look at it from this perspective, so it's more than him being like, this is right or this wrong is so much is like, why not just think differently? Why can't we just accept an alternate idea?
Is it a perception bias?
Okay, hold on. Remember the discussion you had earlier about like the drop in the ocean and how it waves out?
Yeah,
like
the ripples or
pattern waves out. But then you said once it hits the edge, it comes back in.
Yep.
Think about the tides.
Meaning?
It goes out, it hits a barrier, and it comes
I see what you're saying. Well, and that makes sense. Well, and this goes back to, again, is going from a linear.
And that would work in a flat earth because it would have an edge where the firmament meets the.
To me, nothing about flat earth makes sense because everything is circles.
Well, this is
it's a circle, but it's a circle flat. So
no, I mean in 3 dimensions.
Yeah, no, not even 3, 4 dimensions, because you're also talking about time as we're built into this perception. So it's not even just the fact that it ripples out this way; it's literally rippling out this way.
A minimum of 3 dimensions. Let's put it that way. Well, because everything exists on all dimensions. It's turtles all the way down, bro.
Riddle me this, Batman. How come we can get out of our atmosphere and get into space, but yet we've never found the bottom of the ocean?
That's
pressure.
Great question. And it just has to do with where the money's coming from.
Well, there's also that, but no, I think it's pressure, because as you get closer to the core, the pressure increases further.
Very similar to space travel.
Which, I mean, but that also goes back to a point that Terrence was making about the idea
above and so below.
Well, but that's the thing is, so then as you go deeper, it would be a harder pressure, whereas if you go above, it'll be a lower pressure. It's still a differentiation of pressure. It's still pressure.
It's like a magnet. They're opposite.
Yeah. But then that's the thing. So, going back to what Terrence was saying about all that kind of stuff is like, for us to be able to escape our gravity, air quotes gravity, You're not doing that. You're escaping the magnetism, the bond that you have with all of these different components. So in understanding that, it's like when you can find a way to separate that bond,
Well, actually,
you don't need literal energy. You just need to separate
Willy Wonka
the
figured
bond.
out how to do it.
well, he was talking about
He's a
using. He was
fictional
talking
character.
about using
No character. Sorry.
a sound frequency.
Yeah. Well, no, he was
Specifically.
he did. Yeah, with
But-
hydrogen or whatever. And he's like, we now have
What he said that I thought was really, really cool and very interesting, and also, as far as we can tell, absolutely true, is that the Earth is spinning.
from our understanding.
solar
Yeah.
system is spinning.
Right. Yeah, because everything is
What if it's like a
circular.
The
Dreidel.
galaxy our solar system is in is spinning. And the universe is all spinning around itself and other components of itself.
Right.
All of those forces create a toroidal effect on like every dimension, like coming in from all angles.
Right.
And that's basically what creates, it's not the mass that creates the gravity, it's the electromagnetic force coming from all directions.
Well,
that
it's the
creates-
bonds between these energies.
Like, because he said, digitally recreated Saturn from this program that did not use gravity as part of the equation, but it did use electromagnetism.
yeah,
And his whole point in being was not that gravity is non-existent, but gravity is a side effect of the electromagnetic flux that creates a toroidal shape.
If I'm recalling correctly, he
That is
expressed
just
it
like an apple, a pear, the planet Earth, a cherry, like
And
everything.
I picture him as like Tony Stark in his own little lab under his like, house.
but way cooler, and he's not Iron Man. No, I think he put it more to the point that
He was in
gravity is a perception that science attempts to utilize to make their math correct. So he's not saying that gravity does or does not exist or what its relation is. I think he put it more to the point of gravity is this thing that has been expressed so that the math or the understanding that they're attempting to give us makes sense. And he basically, like he was saying, is he recreated Saturn coming together.
Well, gravity.
Well, he recreated Saturn coming together without
gravity.
the idea of gravity, and it literally recreated it to the position of it also created the hexagon at the top of Saturn, which NASA was able to photograph.
Which they photographed, yeah.
So he's like, I literally made exactly what they showed us, but without their idea of gravity. So that's why I was like, he's not so much saying what is right or what is wrong, other than we're thinking, linear as opposed to in a circular fashion, because that's what universal is. So I think, that's why I said I really enjoy more of the fact that he's just like, just think about it.
Like,
Yeah.
So one of the things that was left out by that was the frequency that was used to initiate that structure, because like he says, and just following his logic, like he says, the planets are different based on their alignment from the sun within the solar system. Because as you go further from the sun, pressure conditions change. And when pressure conditions change, then the elements change with it.
Right.
And everything that exists is atoms that make up elements.
Yeah.
So it's literally like, yes, you could turn lead to gold if you knew the right frequency.
Well, yeah,
in his opinion.
Well, right. Because we always talk about it's just all of these things are molecules vibrating at different frequencies, and they either solidify or they don't. They cause structure or they're. So one of his points was, we want to say there's this void or nothing. He's like, that's just not true. There's no such thing as nothing.
This just brings me back to ancient technology too. And like bringing down the walls of Jericho and
With the
horn, which creates a certain frequency.
While
which was
utilizing
done with
the ark.
A march that was going on with the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah, present, which apparently
Right.
there's now like 10 of those that we're aware of. Who knows how many of those are sitting in the, Indiana Jones CIA locker
It's just
in a crate somewhere.
It's just a 9-volt.
It's just a nice.
That's all. It's a really big 9-volt battery.
Yeah, JD, you were going to say something.
No, the horn. It's like like one of those, not a kazoo, but like those little
The party favors.
blowers that you get. Yeah, it's just one of those.
Yeah, party favor. Why not? Well, yeah, because I mean, just like they said in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the understanding, knowledge, the expression of all things, everything, and all of it is 42.
No, well, that was the question to stump the great computer.
An attempt to, yeah, but it came up with
what
42.
What is the meaning of life?
Yeah,
and the meaning of
42.
life and everything. The answer is 42,
which is a 6.
I wonder if any of the celestial patterns match any of the frequency resonance experiments.
Well, so, and I think Terrence was talking about this a little bit within what he was expressing, because as you look at these things being, as I think Joe put it, was like a solar discharge, when you get this piece of whatever that comes off, and then eventually it snowballs and turns into, as it gets further and further and further away, all of the stars, all of the planets, and all of the galaxies and all of the universes that we're aware of can be mathematically mapped under this understanding. They would literally be this size, this dimension, in this place, at this time, everything. But that's, again, going away from linear math and using universal or circular math.
Can I interrupt?
Please.
I really have to pee.
Well, I mean, I also feel like so we might as well go ahead and just wrap this up, B.
Wrap it up, B.
Yeah, no, that's. I think this is a great place. We should probably come back and continue this conversation. Which, yeah, if you're enjoying what we did, hit us in the comments.
And I'll watch the videos. So
please, because this is fascinating shit from I know.
But yeah, no, fam. We do appreciate you. This has been an absolute blast. I think we've barely touched the tip of this iceberg. But yeah, if there's anything that you did like, want more of, all that stuff, hit us in the comments. If you want to see your name in the credits as we roll stuff, hit us in the comments. Either way, just continue the conversation. But let's go ahead and wrap this up. I'm Philly D.
Mr. Gemini.
Clickety clack a fact check, Miss JD.
Yeah, fam, we appreciate you. Please come back, check in, hit us in the comments, check out our shorts, check out our long form.
I'm telling you.
All that good stuff too. But as always, be good to yourself. Be good to everything else.
Much love.
Peace.
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 All right, hit your button, bro.
Don't tell me what to do.
I'll tell you everything.